Hey, you don't mind if I have the rest of the, Oh, the tiramisu? Yeah, that's fine. Oh, thanks. Wait, what did you call this? Tiramisu? Tiramisu? You don't mean like, whoa! Good afternoon, Jank enthusiasts. I'm MBT, and this is 10-minute testing. Okay, you've worn me down. I give up. I'll play Madolche. I'm just kidding. I'm only doing this because of the biggest whale in my Patreon. I would never listen to my viewers. Anyway, let's get this over with.
MBT play Madolche.
So here's the list. I've lifted this from Waltz, but it's not particularly surprising. Madolche is one of those decks. It's been solved for a while now. As always, I'll give you a background about the archetype, a little bit of a discussion about what I hope the deck can do, and of course, the card by card. But first, this video is sponsored by Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro Deck. Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro Deck is the pack opening website that everyone's using for their progression series, but you might have also missed it's got a deck builder, card database, and a wealth of strategy articles. I personally use it to post the Chalice Slime monthly deck breakdowns, so give it a look at www.ygoprodeck.com. Now let's mess with Madolche. Madolche is one of those decks that's just under the necessary power level to make a splash in the metagame. Alongside occasional topping archetypes like Plunder Patrol, Fluonderies, and Mech Knight, this dessert-themed archetype is more than capable of sneaking a regional top or a YCS Day 2, but not much more than that. Like all of these decks, its inability to crack into the meta is a combination of both a low ceiling and some weird in-archetype quirks that make responding to an evolving metagame difficult. A significant number of the powerful cards in Madolche require a monsterless graveyard, which means you are playing a deck that prefers to blind second without hand traps or forbidden droplet. Now, that doesn't mean you're completely boned. There's still a lot you can do under these conditions, especially utilizing the power of new releases. In fact, Madolche is one of the most adept decks of all time at playing Small World, an all-purpose searcher that just requires some brain power in deck building. By main decking Pankratops and Kumungus, you can bridge from any monster in your deck to any monster in your deck, and searchable kaijus and dino wrestlers are pretty decent as well. Just like it's been since 2013, this deck's game plan is to tiramisu your opponent out of the game on the draw, and summon enough monsters not to die on the play through a flexible and malleable setup combination. So with that, let's get into the card by card. First up, our Madolches. Madolche Patetting Sessur is the lifeblood of the deck. It, when summoned, allows you to summon a copy of Madolche Pudding Cess from your deck. This card is very difficult to get into without Patetting Sessur because it has 5 stars. Now, notably, Patetting Sessur needs an empty graveyard in order to special itself from your hand, which is very difficult to come by. After that is Madolche Mangeline. This card on normal summon can add a Madolche monster from your deck to your hand. Madolche Angeli, which contributes itself to summon a Madolche from your deck. Usually you're summoning Madolche Hootcake, which can then banish the Angeli in order to summon from deck a copy of Madolche Messengelato. This adds any Madolche spell trap from your deck to your hand, including Chateau, Ticket, their double summon, or their trap-based interaction. After that are some hand traps. Psy-Frame Gear Gamma is extremely interesting. It's a powerful hand trap that does not go to the graveyard, so it's perfect for this strategy, and 3 DD Crow. After that are some Small World bridges, Dino Wrestler Pankratops, and Kumungus the Sticky String Kaiju. These do double duty of also being generally very good cards when you're going second. Speaking of generally very good cards when you're going second, we have 3 copies of Lightning Storm, followed by 3 Pot of Prosperity, 3 Small World, 1 Called by the Grave, 1 piece of Ticket, Salon, and Chateau. When Salon was first revealed, a bunch of people were playing 3 copies, slowly that dwindled to 2, and now we are back at 1. Finally, for traps, we've got 3 Infinite Impermanence and 1 Madolche Promenade. In the extra, we have Fossil Warrior Skull Knight. This is a very funny card to dump off of Maximus Dogmatica because it functions just like Antis in that it destroys your opponent's monsters, but it does so by banishing itself, so your graveyard is still free to resolve something like a Patetting Sessur. After that, we've got an Omega, we've got a Zeus Sky Thunder, double Chocolate a la Mode, double Tiramisu, triple Glass Souffle, one of the most innocuous cards of all time. Nothing on this card actively describes what's going to happen when it's summoned, followed by an Abyss Dweller, a Closed World, an Ausa the Earth Charmer Immovable, and 2 copies of Madolche Fresh Sistart. When this was first released, people languished about how bad it was, only to realize the fact that it says Madolche is honestly good enough. So with that, let's jump into the games. Our first match is up against Kragan Control, and while our opponent hasn't found a way to make it to Kragan, they have found a bunch of cards that are going to give us pause. The Solemn Strike, the Torrential Tribute, the Gozen Match, and the Forbidden Droplet are all huge problems for us. Our opponent's going to set 4 and pass. So we still could do it. We draw off the top and we find... Well, you know, sometimes the better duelist wins. I don't really know what to say other than that. We're going to overlay for a copy of Glass Souffle. We'll trigger the effect of the Glass Souffle and get ourselves a copy of Chocolate a la Mode. We'll trigger the Chocolate a la Mode to shuffle back the Pathetic Cesseur, then trigger the Chocolate a la Mode in order to summon a Hoot Cake from deck. From here, we can use Hoot Cake to banish the Glass Souffle to go to a Messengelato, and use Messengelato in order to get a copy of Chateau. From here, I mean, we really don't have to do anything else. The Chocolate a la Mode triggers one more time. We'll go for the Pathetic Cesseur, and this is lethal damage. Our second match is up against Fluon Deriz, and it sort of looks like they bricked, but if I'm being honest with you, I've never seen a Flunderhand that looked good anyway. We've opened quite well. This Gamma is going to do a lot of work for us, and it's a matchup in which our specific choice of hand trap matters a lot. This Called by the Grave would be giving us a ton of trouble if this was just an Ash Blossom or something. They're going to begin with a copy of Pot of Prosperity, and this is kind of strange. Usually you'd want to take the map here, but because they don't have another level 1 bird, they're going to have to go with the Robina. They're going to normal summon this copy of Robina, activate the effect. We will Gamma here. They could Ash it, but then we would just Gamma the Eaglin. So they let it go, set 2, and pass. Now, this looks good for us, but those 2 are really good. We're going to begin with a copy of Small World. We will go ahead and make the bridge so we can summon a copy of Pathetic Cesseur. We'll activate the effect, and our opponent, just clicking Yes Turbo, is going to fire off the Ash Blossom. That's rough. We'll normal summon the Angeli and activate the effect, but the Called by the Grave, wow, that's strong. Okay, well, we'll go to battle phase. Maybe the Prosperity can dig us out of this. We're going to banish 6, so we have the maximum chance of finding something, and... oh, boy. Okay, I guess we're taking an Infip. We're going to set the Infinite Impermanence and pass back to our opponent. Ooh, punishment at end phase means they're going to pop the Pathetic Cesseur, and they're going to send a Shreg to the graveyard, which allows them to search an Eaglin because they have a Robina banished. They'll draw for turn. Another M-Pen is really good for us. They'll go for Eaglin, trigger Robina as Chainlink 2. We can Infip the Eaglin, which means they won't have access to another normal because they're mapless, so they'll go directly for 8. We got to draw something crazy off the top, and I mean, that's a really good card. I hope it'll be enough. We find, oh, a Pathetic Cesseur, and look at that. We have completely emptied our graveyard of monsters again. We'll go for the Pathetic Cesseur. This time it does resolve, and we will be able to summon a copy of Madolche Pudding Cess from deck. From here, we can overlay for a copy of Glass Souffle, trigger the effect, and then overlay once again for a copy of Chocolate a la Mode. That'll shuffle back the Pathetic Cesseur, triggering the Chocolate a la Mode, and allow us to get a copy of Angeli. We'll go for the Angeli effect here, getting a Hoot Cake, then we'll activate the effect of the Hoot Cake, banishing the Glass Souffle so we can get ourselves a copy of Messengelato. That Messengelato will add a Chateau to hand, and on activation, the Chateau will shuffle back the Angeli, triggering the Chocolate a la Mode again. We can keep going from here. We'll go Messengelato in order to get from deck to hand a copy of Ticket. We'll activate Ticket, then we will overlay both Messengelato for Tiramisu. We'll activate that effect, and then we'll shuffle our monsters in the graveyard back, which triggers the Ticket, which summons another Messengelato, which is unfortunately still not lethal. It is not lethal. Even the Pancratops isn't enough. It's because of the Pot of Prosperity having battle damage. We are 400 off. There maybe was a way to do this, but I can't figure it out. We're going to set the Promenade and pass back to our opponent. They draw a crazy card off the top, but Promenade is not a monster negate. It is an Omni. As long as that card is face up, it can be negated. We'll trigger the Ticket here for a Mangeline. They'll go for Robina, trigger Eaglin, but there might have been a different way to do this. Normaling the Eaglin and then resolving the normal chain with the Barrier Statue is powerful, but means they are out of material necessary to tribute summon their big boys, and we walk with it. So it's time for game 3, and you know what that means, a best of 3 versus meta. Our opponent's playing DPE Sword Soul, and best of luck to them. They have not opened well here. They're going to go for the long one, they're going to summon a token, they'll make a copy of Barone, and then pass turn. Okay, should be able to do that, especially with the Kumongous in hand and the driver off the top. Fine. We'll go for the Kaiju, then activate the effect of the Pathetic Cesseur, triggering the Pathetic Cesseur. Ash Magnet over here, no big deal. We've also drawn the Angeli. We'll activate the Angeli effect for a Hoot Cake, and we are off to the races. Hoot Cake here, banishing the Angeli. We maybe do this a little out of order. We're going to go for the Messengelato to get a copy of Ticket. We activate Ticket, and then from here we can go into Glass Souffle. Remember, without the Pudding Cess in rotation, those Chocolate a la Mode lines are a lot more difficult. So we're going to have to trigger the Ticket here manually, go for the Messengelato, use Messengelato to get a copy of Chateau, activate Chateau, and then overlay for a Chocolate a la Mode just for damage's sake. This isn't lethal, but given the cards in our opponent's hand, the Promenade should be enough to wrap this one up. They'll draw for turn. They're going to normal summon this copy of Celestial. They're going to attack into the Messengelato, using the effect of Celestial to destroy Chateau. Oh my god, they crash! Anyway. So it's time for game 2, and oh, this is just what you don't want to see. That Pudding Cess in the opener is so painful. It's a soft garnet, but it still hurts. Our opponent's going first. They're going to begin with an Ecclesia. They'll activate Ecclesia's effect in order to summon from deck a copy of Moye. They're going to reveal the appears in hand. We will infip, and hopefully this is the end of their turn. They'll fire off a Pot of Prosperity, finding off the top. Okay, actually not too much. No monsters means they kind of have to choose if they want Longwan pitching the Blackout or if they want to go for the Fusion Destiny. They elect to go for the FD, makes sense with the Ecclesia Engrave. So we'll go for the Pudding Cessor here in order to get a copy of Angeli, because we have the Pudding Cess in hand anyway. We'll go for Angeli and... oh, called by the bane of Angeli's existence. We can still make Tiramisu, which forces out the DPE. They'll activate the DPE Engrave. We'll activate DD Crow. We're not dead here, but things aren't looking fantastic, especially with the Ecclesia coming back. They'll draw off a turn, and... I mean, Dasher does have 2,100 points. They're going to go for a Taya, searched off Appears. They'll banish Appears for a token. Then they'll make a Chi-Shao, triggering the Chi-Shao and the Moye in sequence. And because they found a Taya, they can now get Longwan. Okay, well, that's just the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. This will allow them to go into Baron. They'll trigger the effect of the Longwan, putting us even lower. And they'll go to battle phase, doming us for 21 with the Dasher. So it's time for that all-important Game 3, and oh my god, this is a stinker of a hand. We might actually be able to do it. They're going to begin with a copy of Fusion Destiny, and conclude with a copy of Fusion Destiny. All right, let's start things off with a Lightning Storm, then follow them up with a Madolche Angeli. We'll activate the effect, they'll Ash Blossom, and we will Gamma! Off to the races, we're going to go ahead and get a copy of Pudding Cessor from deck. We'll activate the effect of the Pudding Cessor to summon a Pudding Cess from deck. We'll summon the Pudding Cess, and they hold the DPE for now. That's probably correct. Unfortunately, now we have to go to the battle phase. We'll get in for some amount of damage, not lethal, and then pass it back to them, but we have it on the crackback. They'll draw for turn. They're going to normal summon this token collector so that they can activate the effect of Celestial, and whoa, 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 whoa! Whoa, 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 what is that? Whoa, 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 whoa! You're not allowed to play that card! Mr. Edo Pro, send them to hell! Oh my... well, obviously we can't beat Imperial Order, okay? That puts us in the same league as every single deck last format. Oh, we cannot get the February 7th list on this platform soon enough. God. Okay, well, I guess they are just gonna... Taya us out of this game. Down comes Chi-Shao. They'll activate Chi-Shao, activate the reanimation spell after DPEing away the tokens so they can resolve their spell cards, and proceed to the battle phase doing lethal damage. So we're back with the deck, and I mean, it wasn't a good Sword Soul deck, but it was a Sword Soul deck. Let's do the pros and cons. First, the pros. 1, it's clearly good. It has the capacity to break boards, it does so exceptionally easily, and it operates on an axis that's difficult for many modern decks to keep up with. 2, because of new releases like Salon, the choke point changes from game to game. This means you can wield hidden information to your advantage, cleaning house against an opponent who expects Ash the Patetting to end the turn every game. And 3, shockingly, modern decks don't stand up very well to non-targeting spins. And the cons. 1, part of playing a rogue deck that can't crack into the metagame is that it's not forgiving. It's a difficult deck to play, and you kind of have to be on your A-game for the entire time you're playing it. It's rough to have to play perfectly to eke out a win versus a Sword Soul player that can kill you into the sun provided they read the first line of text on any of their cards. 2, against decks that resist Lightning Storm, there are not very many blind second tools at your disposal. Decks are so robust now that without an equalizer, things can go pretty badly. And 3, it doesn't end its first turn on any negates. Now, this is just an odd quirk of the deck, but it means that any blind first board building has a pretty specific endpoint in mind. All in all, a good deck, but an inflexible end board and an inability to metagame means that it's probably never going to be anything other than a dessert.